Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here, so it's time for another movie review today guys. I'm going to be reviewing another installment in the Transformers film series, and this movie I'm going to be reviewing will be the first installment of a live action remake directed by Michael Bay. And this movie is of course the first one, which is called Transformers, released in 2007, and I'm not alone today guys, because joining me to review this movie is my very good friend X-Blaze. So yeah, now I will leave a link to his channel in the description below for you guys to go subscribe to him and give him some support. But yeah, anyway, gonna let him say his thoughts to me firstly. Anyway, take it away X-Blaze.
Hello everybody, and thank you Luke for inviting me. So right now I'm just gonna say my pros and cons against Transformers 2008. Alright, let's start with the pros. So first of all, mind-blowing CGI. You will not believe, in 2007, this is what made me a Transformers fan. Yeah, the insane CGI is the main reason I became one. And yeah, it still holds up really well. It's actually way better than The Last Night, surprisingly. Because The Last Night just feels really, really cheap, if you know what I mean. But yeah, what else can I say? Oh yeah, incredible, well, great voice cast. I mean, Peter Cullen is the main reason I think everyone loves Optimus. If Peter Cullen didn't return, then we could have had Liam Neeson, surprisingly. But I'm just really glad we got Peter Cullen instead. And yeah, I think he did a really good job in this movie. Alright, what else can I say? Oh yes, Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac is the guy who sells Sam his car, as in Bumblebee he sells him. But anyway, what can I say? He's really funny. I just wish we got more of him, but surprisingly he sadly died, so rest in peace, Bernie Mac. What else can I say? Oh yeah, Bumblebee dissing his G1 form. I found that really funny. And if you don't get it in the movie, Bumblebee, I think Bernie just suggests Sam the Beetle, but Bumblebee actually hits the Beetle because, surprisingly, the Beetle was his G1 form, and yeah, I found that really fun that he was dissing his older G1 form. Alright, so what else can I say? Oh yeah, really scary Megatron. I think Hugo Weaving, he did such a good job in here. I mean, after like Transformers 3, you can already tell that he was just getting really bored with Megatron, but I think he did really good in this movie. Yeah, because there wasn't like a new Matrix movie or anything, so he sadly couldn't return. But yeah. What else can I say? Agent Simmons. He was really funny. I was really laughing. Like, I think he was really good in the first movie, but he's really hilarious in the second movie. I think that's the main reason the second movie could be my, well, mostly favorite, but it's not really that now anymore. But yeah, and if you like Agent Simmons, you will love him more in Transformers 2, but he's also really great in here. What else can I say? Blackout. Yes, my favorite Decepticon. He did some really cool things, I will have to say. First of all, his shockwave blasters, those were like the coolest thing he ever did. I think his transformation was also cool. But anyway, and also yeah, I forgot to tell you, I do voice Blackout in some of Luke's projects, which I'm not going to tell you when, but yeah. And what's another good reason I can say? Peter Cullen, of course. Yeah. Alright, yeah, Peter Cullen is a legend. Alright, let's go to the cons. Too many humans. And really low, like, they just show the humans way too much compared to the robots. Like, this is a Transformers movie, not a human movie. But yeah, so there's really low screen time for the robots. I just really wish there was more. But the humans, well, they took most of the screen time. What else can I say? Oh yeah, don't get me started. Shia Labeouf. He's good in this movie. He sucks in the next two, I will tell you that. He's really decent in here, but he gets really worse in the next two movies. I think that's the main reason they retired him in the fourth movie. I think they got Mark Wahlberg instead. I think Cade was just more tolerable than Sam, because Sam was just Bumblebee! Yeah, he was just running away all the time. Megan Fox, oh. She's good here. Very bad in the second movie, as I can say. Everyone in the second movie was bad. All the humans, but not the robots. The robots are great in the second movie. Yeah, she was decent in here. But not in the sequel. Oh yeah, the All-Star was also a really dumb plot. Like, it could have either killed Megatron, or it could have gave him extreme power. I mean, imagine, it just gives him extreme power. He's like, hey, nice job, human. Just flicks Sam away and, wow, the world is doomed. Yeah, imagine that. But anyway, so this has been a review for Transformers 2007 by Michael Bay. And thank you, Luke and Prime, for inviting me, and see ya.
Alright, so it's now up to me to review this movie. So, now, this movie, in my opinion, is a pretty, underrated sci-fi action movie, in my opinion, guys. You know, I have, a really fun, guilty pleasure, watching this movie, so, yeah. And, I own it on DVD as well, and, yeah, although, unfortunately, I don't know where the disc is, so, yeah, I think I've lost it, so, yeah, whoops, but, yeah. So, what is this movie about? So, the film stars Shia Labeouf as Sam Witwicky, a teenager who gets caught up in a war between the heroic Autobots and the villainous Decepticons, two factions of alien robots who can disguise themselves by transforming into everyday machinery, primarily vehicles. The Autobots intend to retrieve and use the Allspark, the powerful artifact that created their robotic race that is on Earth, to rebuild their home planet Cybertron and end the war, while the Decepticons have the intention of using it to build an army by giving life to the machines of Earth. So that's a plot of the movie, guys. So yeah, now, so let's talk about, what I liked about the movie first. So, I think probably, the greatest thing about this movie, guys, is probably the voice cast for the Transformers themselves. So yeah, now, one thing that I really do love about this movie, guys, is I was so happy that, Michael Bay actually brought back the legendary Peter Cullen, my favourite voice actor of all time, to reprise his role as Optimus Prime. From, the original G1 show, he came back to reprise his role, and yeah. And I would never imagine any actor voicing Optimus Prime better than Peter Cullen. And, I'm so glad that he came back for this role. And he also returned in the sequels and many other Transformers media, such as video games and shows, etc. But yeah, in so many things, yeah. And he delivered a phenomenal performance as Prime in this movie, as always, I don't think he has any bad performance as Optimus, in my opinion. And when it comes to supporting cast of Autobots, even though I don't like how, Bumblebee was, pretty much, silent most of the movie with no showing of how it happened. Luckily, Bumblebee movie showed, even though it's in a different universe, but yeah. Mark Ryan was really good as him, when his voice was fixed at the end. Even though only had a couple of lines, but yeah. Thankfully, he had a chance to shine in the Revenge of Fallen video game, but that's what I like him most as Bumblebee in, but yeah. It's a shame that Revenge of Fallen made him lose his voice again with no explanation. So, yeah. He was really good as Bumblebee with what he was given. And I also as well loved Jess Harnell as two Transformers. One of them is Ironhide, an Autobot weapons expert. He's definitely my favourite voice of Ironhide. He was very entertaining, pretty funny as well. I think his voice fits Ironhide so perfectly. And, definitely a great contender to Peter Cullen as his voice, because he voiced him in the G1 show as well, and the 1986 movie as well. And he's also my favourite voice of Barricade as well, because he voiced Barricade in this movie, and, he was really good. Barricade, unfortunately, only had a few lines in this movie, sadly, but yeah. And also, the same could also be applied to him last night when he returned as well, to voice him in that. Because in Darkman, Frank Welker, for some reason, replaced him, even though he was in the movie as Ironhide, But yeah, he was really good as both Ironhide and Barricade, and yeah. Luckily, if you guys ever play the Transformers game, which is based on the first movie, you know, Barricade has a much bigger role in that game than the movie, which I did appreciate. And I also definitely as well love Robert Foxworth as Ratchet, the Autobot medic. He was really amazing with what he was given as Ratchet, and he's definitely my favourite voice of Ratchet. You know, he was so great in the role. And I like how he sounded so wise as well. He was very good in the role. And I also as well definitely did also love Darius McCrary as Jazz. He was really good in the role, in my opinion. He was really good. And pretty underrated voice, in my opinion. And I might probably consider him my third favourite voice of Jazz after Scatman Cross from G1, rest in peace, and Troy Baker from the Transformers Cybertron games, you know, with 2 he voiced Jazz in. He might be my third favourite because he was so good in the role. And then let's talk about the Decepticons now. I've already mentioned Barricade because I was talking about Jess Harnell, but yeah, now Hugo Weaving provided a voice of Megatron in this movie, and he was absolutely fabulous as Megatron. Now, unfortunately, one bad quality I will say about Megatron is, you know, although Hugo Weaving was fabulous with what he was given, I don't like how Megatron was hardly a movie, you know, because this problem could also be applied to every other Transformer movie besides Bumblebee, because he plays the biggest role in the movie as, you know, the guardian of the main protagonist, Sam Witwicky. I don't like how many Transformers had such little screen time in this movie, because this movie feels more like it's focusing on the humans than the Transformers, which I believe was actually given, the idea was given by Steven Spielberg to Michael Bay, I believe. So yeah, I can't believe he made that decision. Like, I didn't like that at all. But Hugo Weaving still nailed it, in my opinion, as Megatron. He's also my second favourite Megatron of all time after the original voice actor for Megatron, Frank Welker, as well. And Frank did voice Megatron in the games based on the first 2 movies, but personally, guys, you know, I think Hugo Weaving fits as this version of Megatron way more, because when I see the design for Megatron in this movie, you know, I picture like a very deep, monstrous voice. And I feel like Frank Welker's voice he used for G1 doesn't really fit this version of Megatron, in my opinion. That's why I think Hugo was much better in these movies than in the games, where he was voiced by Frank Welker. So, yeah. And Megatron was also pretty brutal as well, because, you know, this leads on to another bad quality I have, being that I don't like how Megatron killed Jazz, either. Like, I didn't like that, to be honest, guys. It was just, you know, because I do like Jazz. I think he's a great Autobot, and, you know, very entertaining. Mainly because of G1, because he was really amazing in that show, and also in this movie as well. I don't like how he was killed by being ripped in half. I felt really bad for Jazz. Like, that's why in my Transformers Order series Battle Odyssey, I brought Jazz back as a main character, with you know, the matrix of leadership repaired. So, yeah, because I think he deserved better. But, yeah, unfortunately, due to, you know, the fact that he was absent from the movies, I had to unfortunately kill him off again. But, yeah, I gave him a much more meaningful death than in, you know, in Lockdown Awakening than in this movie, where, you know, he dies knowing that he won't give up Optimus Prime's location to the Cemetery Winds. So, yeah. And I also, as well, did like Charlie Adler as Starscream, but, and also what's cool is, alongside Peter Cullen, Charlie Adler actually returned from a G1 show, because in the G1 show, he actually voiced Silverbolt, the aerial bot. Yeah, in the G1 show, he voiced Silverbolt. I'm not sure if he voiced any other characters in that show, but yeah, I know he voiced Silverbolt. So, yeah. And, but what I don't like is that, you know, while Charlie was great what he was given as Starscream, I don't like how, you know, he only had, you know, 2 lines. I mean, unless you count the lines where he speaks in Cybertronian, he only has 2 lines which you can understand in English, you know. Such as, you know, I live to serve you, Lord Megatron. The humans have taken it. And that's it, sadly. So I feel Starscream was really underused in this movie, guys, sadly. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with how he treated Starscream, and, you know, and, in my opinion, he got better in the sequels, to be honest. But, yeah. But Charlie Adler was still great what he was given, and, I think he's my 3rd favourite Starscream of all time, after Chris Latta from the G1 show, rest in peace, and Steve Blum from Transformers Prime. So, yeah. Charlie was still really good what he was given, and I like him more in the sequels. The same could also be applied to Megatron as well, especially in Revenge of the Fallen, even though I'm not a big fan of that movie, to be honest. And I also liked Renault Wilson as Frenzy, you know, Barricade's minion, but it was confusing how, you know, he was Barricade's minion and not Soundwave's minion like in G1. So, yeah. But he was still pretty good. He was given as Frenzy, but personally, guys, I think I like Frank Welker more as Frenzy from, you know, G1, to be honest. And, yeah. But, you know, and still, you know, I also heard that apparently, guys, Howard Stern was going to voice Frenzy, but he turned it down when his agent talked him out of it, so yeah. Would have been interesting to see how he'd sound as Frenzy, wouldn't it, guys? And I also as well liked, even though the character didn't have much screen time, I did like Jim Wood as Bone Crusher. You know, he was pretty decent what he was given, but unfortunately, Bone Crusher was hardly a movie, and he only has like one fight scene with Optimus on the freeway, and that's it, he gets killed, so yeah. And when it comes to non-speaking characters, you know, I did like Blackout in the movie, guys, but I think I prefer him way more in the game that's based on first film, because for one thing, he actually talks a lot more, and yeah, and they give him much more to do, but yeah. That's enough for Transformers, but on to the human characters. Now, I'm not really much a big fan of the humans. Like, I think the best actors in the movie, guys, were probably Josh Duhamel as William Lennox, the captain of the army. And also Tyrese Gibson as Epps. Even though I prefer him way more as Roman in the Fast and Furious movies. And I especially did love Anthony Anderson as Glenn Whitman, who was kind of like a comic relief movie. He was so hilarious, and the scenes where he screams are so funny, and especially the scene where he's blaming, you know, Maggie in the interrogation room, where they immediately, you know, begin the interrogation, and he says, she did it, like, that was just so hilarious in my opinion. And I also do like this movie because it also had a cameo appearance by Bernie Mac as Bobby Bolivia, who was a car salesman. And of course, rest in peace to him, but you know, he was great in this cameo, but I like him way more as Zuba in Madagascar to Escape to Africa. And I also liked John Turturro as Seymour Simmons as well. He was actually a very good character in my opinion, and I like what I like him in sequels and also in The Last Night as well, but yeah. He was very good. I like John Turturro's performance, and I can't wait to see him in the Batman as Carmine Falcone. I can't wait to see him in that movie. There is unfortunately some characters that I have mixed thoughts on and some that I don't like. For example, Shia Labeouf, in my opinion, was the most decent he was in these films as Sam in this movie compared to the sequels, in my opinion. You know, I feel like in the sequels he got way more annoying and cringy, but in this movie he was fine. You know, I'm not saying he was bad in this movie. I thought he was decent in this movie he was given. So, yeah. But, of course, my favourite role of Shia is probably his role as Chaz in the Constantine 2005 movie, to be honest, guys. So, yeah. But, yeah. Sam was probably, you know, my second favourite film, only from this movie, because I didn't really like him in the sequels very much. And I was glad he wasn't in the fourth and fifth movies either, because he annoyed me in the second and third movies. But, yeah. And when it comes to Megan Fox as Michaela, I only like her in this movie, guys. I wasn't really much a fan of her in the sequel, to be honest, guys. You know, like, I thought she was pretty annoying in the sequel, Revenge of Fallen, but yeah. And I also, as well, I absolutely could not stand Sam's parents, because Ron and Judy were so incredibly annoying as hell. Especially Judy, you know, they annoyed me so much in these movies. Like, I didn't like them at all, they got on my nerves. And, like, they unfortunately do make some inappropriate jokes in the movie, guys. You know, many characters do. I'm not going to say what they are because it's inappropriate for children, because it's a family-friendly channel, but yeah. It was just, I don't like how they forced in all these jokes, especially in the sequel, Revenge of Fallen as well, considering this is based on a children's toy line by Hasbro, you know. And I think I like Kevin Dunn way more in his role in the 90s Godzilla movie, and I'm not really a big fan of that movie, to be honest, guys. And yeah. I also like the appearance of John Voight as John Keller. He was really good, and, you know, Angelina Jolie's dad, guys, so, yeah. He was really good in that role. And I also liked Glenn Marshall as Colonel Sharp, but unfortunately he only appeared at the start of the movie because I think he got killed during Blackout's attack on the base. But luckily he appeared in the two sequels and The Last Night as, you know, General Marshall, who is actually based on his real name, you know. I like him in that role more than this role, because in this role he was only in the movie at the start, and that was it. And I do like his voice work as Overlord in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare first 2 games as well, yeah. But it's a shame that, you know, he was hardly in the movie, because I think he's a great actor, guys, especially playing military characters, so yeah. Now, other good qualities I will say is, you know, the CGI, in my opinion, really does hold up well for a 2007 movie, you know. It holds up brilliantly, you know, 14 years later, especially for Transformers. Like, the visual is so good, like, and I do like it, and the fight scenes were also really entertaining to watch. It was pretty good, especially the fight between Optimus and Megatron in the city called Mission City, which is basically the Transformers version of Los Angeles, so yeah, in Mission City. So yeah, you know, like, the fight scenes do hold up pretty well, and yeah, and the CGI to create Transformers is pretty stunning, especially, you know, 14 years later, it definitely does hold up well. And, however, another bad quality I will say, guys, is that, I think the Allspark is an incredibly confusing concept, because it's so, like, unpredictable, and, you know, what I don't like is, you know, how, you know, it can bring back, you know, Transformers, you know, and also it can, you know, create new ones, but it can also kill them if you put it into their chests. Like, really? Like, you know, why didn't it, you know, make Megatron more powerful when Sam thrusted the old back into his chest? Like, why didn't it give him more power, you know? Like, that is just so confusing. Like, I thought it was a source of Cybertronian life, you know? Doesn't make any sense, really. It's just so confusing. But, yeah. But still, when it comes to, you know, this movie, I think it's underrated, a very underrated action movie, you know. The voice cast, in my opinion, save the movie, and some of the human characters do. But yeah, I don't like how, you know, it barely focuses on the Transformers much. It mainly focuses on the humans. Like, I feel Bumblebee is the character with the more screen time out of the Transformers in this movie, guys. So yeah. Like, I mean, because as a fun fact, guys, I prefer the game this movie's based on over the actual movie, because it focuses way more on the Transformers, and it gives many more personality, like Blackout, for example. So yeah. Now, and also, I also wouldn't mind if this was the only movie by Michael Bay in the Transformers franchise, because I think it ended pretty perfectly, you know, where the Decepticons are defeated and the Autobots living in peace on Earth, you know. Although Jazz unfortunately died. But still, when it comes to, you know, the scene of Starscream flying away in the post-credits scene, we see him flying into space, and, you know, I like to pretend that, you know, that is him being banished into space because he got nothing left, but, you know, unfortunately, that was Michael Bay's way of setting up the sequels. So yeah, I mean, I love Dark Moon, guys. That's my favourite movie by Michael Bay. But Revenge of Fallen I don't really like, and we'll be getting on to that next week. So yeah. So yeah, that scene was basically his way of setting up a sequel. And of course, Barricade as well disappeared from the final battle, because for some reason, guys, he did not take part in the final battle. He was last seen on the freeway scene, which in my opinion was still pretty well visualed as well, especially the chasing and Optimus fighting Bone Crusher. So yeah, I feel like you know, this movie should have probably been the only one, but Dark Moon I can definitely tolerate, you know, because it has many qualities that improve on this movie, you know, which I'll get to in the review for Dark Moon. But yeah, I just feel like you know, this could have been the only one. And yeah, and they should have also explained what happened to Barricade as well, guys, because that left people wondering what happened to him, and he of course returned in Dark Moon. But yeah. Anyway, guys, so if you're wondering why I give this movie out of 10, well, as I did on my ranking video last year, I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. Pretty underrated action movie in my opinion, so yeah. So you know, drill, guys, be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to in the comments what you guys think of Transformers, if you similar to your thoughts are on it. Also, thank you to X-Players for taking part in the review me. You did a great review of it as always, like you've done before for the other reviews. And also be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe for more videos coming in the future. If you want to be a member, you can press join using a PC or laptop, or you can click the link below the description. And till all are one.